Hey everybody, Derek Christensen here. Today I wanted to talk to you about blended families in Texas and how you absolutely want an estate plan if you are a blended family. But before I dive into that, I wanted to let you know how to reach out to me. You can find me in my email, Derek, D-E-R-E-K, at legionlawpllc.com, or you can find me on my website, www.legionlawpllc.com. So with that, let's dive right in. Now, what is a blended family? A blended family, think of the Brady Bunch. It is two people who are currently married, and one of them or both of them have children with other people outside of the marriage, from previous marriages, previous relationships, whatever. That being said, blended families are treated very differently in Texas than normal, organic family. I don't know what the term would be, but the family that has only children with just two people. Then I don't know, I'll call them something else later. But a blended family in this circumstance is treated substantially different because the laws of estate planning do not change very often. In fact, they rarely change. They get tweaked maybe a little bit here or there. And we still have the current laws are written from the 1840s when Texas became a new republic. And we said, oh my goodness, all of these women are coming in from the East Coast and they are marrying into these families and stealing the cattle ranches from, the ranch owners. So in Texas, they were extremely concerned about land. They wanted to keep the land inside the family. More specifically, they wanted all of the children of the person who owned the land, the man usually in this circumstance, to keep the land inside the family tree rather than some woman coming in, marrying the man, and then stealing all the land and giving it to her kids, So either way, that's why the laws are written the way they are, and they haven't changed in a very long time. So I will give you more specifics. And in order to do so, you have to understand what is separate versus community property. Community property is simply all property acquired during a marriage, and separate property is the property before the marriage. So in Texas, I talked with a potential client just yesterday, actually, who he got married 25 years ago, had a kid with a woman. They got divorced, and then 22 years ago, he married a new woman and had kids after that. So one kid from the 25 ago marriage and one kid with the 22-year-old, or 22 now going on marriage. So he was worried about his estate plan. I told him that if he were to pass away tomorrow, half of the property that he acquired during his marriage will have to go to the kid from the 25-year marriage and the other kid too. So 50% of community property will go to the spouse, 50% of community property will go 25-25 to the two children. So for 22 years, he's been acquiring assets, and the wife now has to give half of everything she's ever earned with her husband for 22 years to one, to her stepchild, and two, for her current child. And the current child, again, has no obligation to give it back to mom, and so mom loses literally half of everything that they've worked for 22 years. Another crazy circumstance is that if the man earned or had land from before the marriage, in other words, if he acquired land during the 25-year ago marriage and he kept it, and then now he's married to a different woman for 22 years, 2/3 of that land is going to go to the kids in 2 shares. And 1/3 of that land is going to go to the wife, but only for the wife's lifetime. It's called a life estate. And so the wife can have 1/3 interest in the house, but then whenever she moves out, or if she passes her away, her 1/3 interest goes back to the two children and splits up again. So in that circumstance, a stepchild and a blood child could control the living circumstance of the mom while the mom is still alive if she's living in that separate property house. So I don't know. I didn't expect you to understand that. It probably sounded like Chinese or something. But at the end of the day, the main point I'm trying to make is that it's very confusing. It is very complicated. And blended families, like I said, are treated substantially different than a normal unitary family, I guess, if you want to call it that. Because in that circumstance, if you died without a will, everything would go to the spouse. If there was no spouse, everything would go to the kids in equal shares. Very simple. But a blended family, like I said, 2/3 if it's separate property to the kids, 1/3 and blah, 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 1/2, and all these fractions start popping up. And really, I feel like I'm at, algebra in high school again. So at the end of the day, that's what you want to avoid. If you are a blended family, it is a huge red flag. Texas does not like you. You are not welcome here in the estate planning world of Texas. So you absolutely need at least a will. If you have a will and you're a blended family, then you can say whatever you want. You can say everything goes to my wife. If not my wife, then my kids in equal shares, whatever. And if you do that, if you have a will and you're part of a blended family, then that will happen. Whatever happens in that, whatever is stated in that will happen if you are a blended family member and you have a will. Better yet, you should get a trust, because if you put all your assets in the trust, you avoid probate entirely and nobody has any headaches. So anyways, that's all to say that if you are a blended family, big red flag, be scared. Because everybody all the stepchildren have to get along with step parents, half brothers and half sisters have to get along better, and if they're not living together, and don't do it. So if you have any questions on that front, feel free to email me directly, Derek, D-E-R-E-K, at legionlawpllc.com. Or you can find me on my website, where you can go to our Contact Us page and schedule a free consultation over the phone directly onto my calendar at www.legionlawpllc.com. So with that, have a great day.